Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental, a choice we all make, probably every day, that completely shapes how we experience our lives. The choice between using reason and just casting blame.
I mean, we've all heard this a million times, right? Take responsibility, stop playing the victim. It's standard advice, but it's kind of like half a piece of advice, isn't it? It always leaves you hanging with a pretty huge question.
Seriously, if we're not supposed to blame, what are we supposed to do? If you take that tool away, what's the tool you're supposed to use in its place to actually understand what happened and, move forward? And look, this isn't just about switching out one word for another. We're talking about a massive shift in perspective. The kind of shift that really separates people who stay stuck from the people who actually manage to grow. The source material for this explainer put it perfectly. This isn't wordplay, it's life structure. This one little distinction can totally redefine how you handle every single challenge in your job, with your health, and especially in your relationships. It's literally the framework you use to build your life.
Okay, let's dive right in. First up, we've got to nail down this crucial difference between giving a reason and just plain old blaming somebody. They can sound similar, but trust me, they are worlds apart.
So here's the simplest way to think about it. Reason is all about the what. What happened? It's just the facts. Totally neutral. Blame, though, that's all about the who. Who screwed this up? Who is at fault here? One is looking for clarity, the other is looking for a villain.
And if you look at what's really going on underneath, it becomes crystal clear. Reason is an act of observation. It's all about getting clarity. But blame, well, blame is an act of evasion. It's all about protecting your ego. This example just nails it, doesn't it? I was at a red light, they hit me. That's a neutral observation. It's what happened. But I crashed, but it's their fault for being in my way. See the difference? You're not just stating facts anymore. You're creating a bad guy to protect yourself. All right, so how does this whole thing actually show up in our own lives? Well, it all starts with how we look at ourselves and our own sense of control. Let's take your health, for example. You've got control over a lot, right? What you eat, if you exercise, how much you sleep. But let's say something feels off. You might need a doctor to get a scan, or maybe even do a surgery to find the reason for the problem. You haven't failed, you've just hit the limit of what you can control directly.
And this is so important. Getting help doesn't mean you failed. It just means you've reached a point where support is now required. You're not blaming your body for letting you down. You're seeking a reason for what's happening so you can take the right action.
And this idea goes way beyond just physical stuff. The source material talks about this awesome mental discipline. Basically, you listen to everything coming at you, you let it in one ear, and then you consciously decide what's useful and let the rest of the noise just pass right out the other. That is not being ignorant, that is true control over your own mind. Okay, so let's scale this up. Let's take this whole reason versus blame idea and apply it to a really big, messy topic where blame gets thrown around a lot. Money, wealth, and the whole economic system. You hear this kind of thing all the time, right? And it's a classic statement of blame. It's simple, it's emotional, it assigns a simple motive to a really complex situation. But for this exercise, let's just park the blame for a second and try to look at the mechanics of it all using just reason. So check this out. At any scale, assets, whether it's 10 grand or $1 billion, they're not just sitting there. They cost money to maintain. If you have $10,000 in assets, you probably need a similar amount in cash flow just for upkeep and a buffer. Now scale that way up. $1 million in assets, you might need $1 million plus in annual cash flow just to cover insurance, staff, lawyers, taxes, all the risk. So what looks like hoarding from the outside can actually be the operational cost of just keeping the system stable.
And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? Blame lets you stay in your feelings. It lets you stay comfortable not really understanding something. Reason, on the other hand, well, it's harder. It forces you to actually learn how the system works, to see all the moving parts, even if you don't like what you see.
Okay, now we're going to bring this home to the place where this dynamic can be the most critical and honestly, the most destructive, our personal relationships. This is where blame can quietly build up and turn into some serious resentment. And there's this really predictable path to resentment, isn't there? See if this sounds familiar. Step 1, you start doing all these things for someone without even talking about it, kind of to prove how valuable you are. Step 2, an expectation is born. It's never spoken, but it's there. You'll always do that thing. Step 3, you start getting tired. Burnout kicks in. And finally, step 4, instead of talking about it, you just start blaming them for not meeting an expectation you secretly created all by yourself. So often, the problem isn't even the other person or the relationship itself. It's the math we're using. People do this thing where they give 100% of themselves. They just pour their entire identity into their partner. And then, when they inevitably feel empty and lost, they blame their partner for creating a void that was actually caused by their own lack of boundaries. So what's a better way to look at it? Check out this model. It's not about two halves making a whole. It's about two whole people. You are 100% responsible for your life, and they are 100% responsible for theirs. And that little shared space in the middle, that tiny slice, that's the relationship. It's something you both intentionally contribute to and co-create. You haven't lost yourself. You've chosen to partner up. So how do you break that cycle of resentment? Simple, but not easy. You replace those silent, toxic expectations with actual, out-loud agreements. It means having the courage to ask the grown-up questions, like, hey, what did we actually agree on here? Is this actually sustainable for both of us in the long run? How are we going to talk about this when things change? Because they definitely will. A real partnership is built on constant conversation, not on trying to read each other's minds. Okay, so this all leads us to one final thing. A really powerful gut check you can use anytime you're in a tough spot and trying to explain your way out of it. This is it right here, the fundamental question. Next time you're explaining why things are the way they are, ask yourself this and be really honest. Are you giving reasons, just laying out the facts to find a solution? Or are you just casting blame because you're scared to actually look in the mirror? That question is the difference between self-awareness and self-deception. Because reason doesn't need a villain. It just needs a mirror. Think about that for a second. Reason is an inside job. It's you being honest with yourself. Blame, on the other hand, needs an external target. It needs someone else to point at so you never have to do that hard internal work. And when you finally make that choice, when you choose reason over blame, you're just left with yourself and that mirror, and really looking at what you see. Honestly and clearly, well, that's where your real power and your real progress truly begins. So what do you see?